Nintendo just responded to the game keycard controversy, and their response is quite interesting, hinting that third parties might have a lot more to do with implementing these game keycards than you might think. They also responded to the high prices of the Nintendo Switch 2. They even talked about the availability of stock of the console. We'll get into all of that in this video, but before we get started, I would really appreciate if you would like this video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my content. Any of your support really helps me grow, so I really appreciate if you do those things. But anyway, let's get started. So the content from today's video comes from Nintendo's shareholders meeting, which occurred just the other day, where their stock shareholders were asking questions to Nintendo leadership about the company and what they are doing. Now, a couple of these responses I'd like to cover in this video, but the first one is quite interesting. And this info covers game keycards coming from nintendosoup.com. And the statement says, quote, Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa started his response by explaining how game keycards work. He then went on to say that the company will work hard in helping third parties sell their games, and that the large file sizes of Nintendo Switch 2 games brought about their creation. He didn't answer the question on how game keycards affect third-party game sales on Nintendo Switch 2. Another shareholder shared a transcription of the same Q&A in which Furukawa was quoted as saying that game keycards were conceived as an option for publishers to bring their games to retail, and that they have been considering ideas for game keycards together with third-party publishers and proceeding with selling games on the new physical format. Now, if you didn't catch that last part, Shuntaro Furukawa, the president of Nintendo, basically said that third-party publishers had a hand in making these game keycards come to life. And people have been saying that it's Nintendo's fault for making these game keycards and that they are so anti-consumer, but it really sounds like third-party publishers were pressuring Nintendo into making these game keycards, and it's not entirely their fault. Physical formats are expensive for developers. They have to pay all of this, the shipping, the packaging, and then the chip inside of these game cards, which is already expensive, so these game keycards effectively cut down on the cost of the chip, making the data not on the card. So third-party publishers are saving a little money and making it easier for them to break into physical. And I'm kind of starting to think that's why we've been seeing so many game keycards, is because third-party developers wanted a system like that, and they got it. Nintendo worked with them, and a majority of third-party games are game keycards. Nintendo leadership also addressed the high cost of the Nintendo Switch 2. One question that was asked about it was, quote, isn't the rising cost a negative factor for the expansion of the gaming population? And the answer from Nintendo leadership was, quote, the scale and duration of game development are increasing, leading to higher costs. The risks in the game business are greater than before. We are making efforts internally to address this. We will invest if necessary. We are thinking about how to develop more efficiently. We are also creating compact software with shorter development periods. To me, this kind of sounds like the work around the question answer from Nintendo leadership. It could be just greed and that's really the true answer, but it sounds like they're experiencing high development costs, but we'll never really know if that's actually the case because development costs could be a factor for higher game prices, but it could just be corporate greed. Another question was asked about the high price of the Nintendo Switch 2 by a shareholder, and it says, quote, our generation grew up playing with things like Game & Watch. With the Nintendo Switch 2 being quite expensive, aren't there fewer opportunities for young children to experience it? Is it sufficient in terms of utilizing IP? Aren't you considering developing lower priced products? And the answer said, quote, compared to products released in the past, more customers feel that the Nintendo Switch 2 has become more expensive. What's important is ensuring customers have a fulfilling experience. To achieve this, we've incorporated various features into the Nintendo Switch 2. We are also undertaking various initiatives beyond just gaming consoles. One of our goals is to ultimately have people play on a dedicated gaming console. We are paying close attention to how much of a barrier the price will be at the time. So they're kinda right, the Switch 2 does have quite a few more features, And there could possibly be a Switch 2 Lite down the line. Again, a very corporate answer, but there's kind of a bit of sentiment here that things are a bit more expensive. They are acknowledging it, but still, the Switch 2 I think is fairly priced. There might be a Switch 2 Lite down the road, but we really can't tell by these staged corporate answers. The shareholders also discussed Nintendo Switch 2 demand in Japan, but also worldwide. The first question says, quote, about the Nintendo Switch 2. It was released this month, and I understand that it has not been able to meet domestic demand. Is the reason for this a shortage of production units or a failure to predict demand? Are there any improvements to be made when launching new products in the future? And the answer from Nintendo executives is quite a lengthy one, and it says, quote, currently in many countries the demand for Switch 2 exceeds the supply, and we are unable to meet it. We understand that some shareholders are also unable to obtain it. We started accepting lottery sales at the My Nintendo store in April. The response far exceeded our expectations, and I announced in my name on X that there were 2.2 million applicants, along with an apology. Since then, we have conducted 4 lottery sales, but some people were not selected. We have announced that a 5th lottery will be taking place starting in July. Many general retailers have also conducted lottery sales. The number of stores offering in-store sales is gradually increasing. As a company, we are working to improve our production system to deliver as many units as possible. We apologize for the inconvenience caused by this initial demand, which greatly exceeded our expectations. Now, in Japan, the Switch 2 is very popular and very hard to get, and it seems like Furukawa is referring to Japan in that they are having the lottery sales. Now, here in the US it's still sold out, but it really seems like Nintendo's been meeting demand with the Switch 2. But in Japan, it's a completely different story. But anyway guys, that's it for today's video. Comment down below if you think that Nintendo is just greedy with Mario Kart World at $80, or if you think development costs are actually the issue. I'd appreciate if you would like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. But anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day.